Welcome to the University of Warwick Postgraduate Certificate, Postgraduate Diploma and Masters in Medical Education Information webinar. We're delighted to have so many in attendance today. So the following is the running order. We will commence with a chat with Claudia Conway, the IHEED Head of Programmes for the University of Warwick, and Julia Blitz. Julia Blitz is one of our course tutors. She's a family doctor by background, but has progressively moved more towards health professions education, having completed her PhD in health professions education in 2018, and is the former Vice Dean of Learning and Teaching at the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. We'll also be chatting to one of our current students, Dr. Arig Musa. Arig is an oncology registrar in University Hospital Kerry and is involved in voluntary teaching in her home country of Sudan via virtual sessions. We'll then receive a presentation from Claudia, who will give you a detailed overview of the online learning environment and the curriculum. I will then discuss entry requirements, time commitments and tuition fees. We'll finish the webinar with a Q&A session. However, we do welcome your questions at any stage throughout the webinar via that questions section. But if there's any really pertinent questions that would be useful for the group today, we might save those for the Q&A session or answer those or put them to our presenters as we go. So without further delay, I'll now hand you over to Claudia to commence the discussion with Julia Blitz.
Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome everyone, it's very nice to see you. Welcome to our webinar on medical education and an introduction to our program and the various different levels of it. So our webinar today is to introduce you to our postgraduate certificate, postgraduate diploma or Master of Science in Medical Education for healthcare professionals. As James has said, my name is Claudia Conway and I am Head of Programs for the University of Warwick. So this Masters of Science program is one of a suite of programs that we deliver to healthcare professionals in conjunction with the University of Warwick, our accrediting partner. So James has outlined the running order this morning. I'll talk us into an introduction to the program, a little bit about IHEED as an organisation and our people, and then we'll have a chat with Julia and with Arig to give us both perspectives, the perspective from, I guess, the educator and the educated in the case of this program. So from faculty and from student, we'll look at how this program might be the right program for you and hopefully help you to consolidate those decisions. So just to start the presentation, and I suppose to talk a little bit about the format of the webinar, as I said, I'll take us through a quick potted history of IHEED and what we do as an organisation, a little bit about our accrediting partner, the University of Warwick. Then we'll take a look at the questions which are really important for you, and hopefully Julia and Arig will help us to answer those questions. Why would you choose this program? Why would you choose this program over any other program? What will it do for you? What are the career prospects that you might expect to pursue once you've completed this program? We'll talk about a day in the life of a student and what the typical student profile is. And at IHEED, we pride ourselves both on our online learning platform, most particularly, but also our global audience, our international audience. And we'll talk a little bit about what that means for you as a student and the difference between attending a program like this on campus and attending the program with us, as you would be doing online and within a global classroom. We'll talk about why you would choose this program. And then I'll take you, as James has said, into a little bit of an overview of Canvas, which is our online learning platform. So we'll give you a whistle-stop tour of what you would expect if and when you join the program. And then James will take you through the practicalities of, hopefully when you've made your decision to join us, how to do that. And of course, as we go along, if you have any questions, please put them into the chat. So a little bit of an introduction to IHEED as an organisation. We're founded in 2013 with the aspiration to bring healthcare education to, I guess, to the globe in some respects, and to as many environments and disciplines as we could. Currently, we have over 400,000 course completions since 2013. We are partnered with a variety of government and healthcare ministries, currently about 14 of those around the globe. And we have 5 accrediting partners, University of Warwick being one of them, others being the Royal College of Physicians of Ireland, and then London South Bank University is another one of our accrediting partners. So this programme in medical education is accredited by the University of Warwick, and I'll speak about those accreditation, or that accreditation, in a moment. But just to give you a feel for the size of the organisation, and most particularly for you, the size of the medical education wing of that organisation. I was just doing the maths last night, and currently we have over 300 students participating and working through their Masters of Medical Education, ARIG being one of those. And we think that by the time we get through to the beginning of 2023, we're going to have over 500 students. So it's an extremely popular programme for a variety of different reasons. And we'll talk a little bit about those as we go through the session this morning. We currently have over 140 faculty from around the globe. We have, on some of our programs, our faculty literally span the globe. So we have faculty delivering from as far afield as Canada, Croatia, South Africa, the Middle East, Singapore, Australia. So you, on any given day, in any given module, in any given tutorial, could be delivered by somebody from anywhere in the globe. So truly international faculty as well as student body. A little bit about the University of Warwick, our accrediting partner. Warwick is one of the top 10 UK universities, 62nd in world ranking, a member of the Russell Group of universities. Its Masters in Medical Education is highly regarded, the on-campus version, and the version that you would be undertaking should you choose to join us is a mirror version of that on-campus programme. The difference is that you can pursue it from the comfort of your own home or your own workplace without needing to relocate and all of the complications that go along with that. Warwick are leaders in medical education and research, and of course that's one of the reasons why we've chosen them as our accrediting partner. And we work closely with them throughout the entire duration of your journey with us, and indeed before and after that. So Warwick are with us every step of the way, from the point at which we designed this program to, for example, yesterday I participated in an exam board, so with our University of Warwick colleagues, and they're the ones who ultimately sign off on your qualifications. And when you finish with us, your parchment, that piece of paper that you receive, will be a University of Warwick certificate. So they're very much our partner in delivering this this program to you. So actually I'm going to stop there, because this is the point at which I go into the detail on the program, and maybe it's as good a point as any to speak to some of our people, as I've been saying. So I might start with you, Julia, and I'll move on to Eric then. So good morning. You might give us a little bit about your background and your decision to move into medical education and what inspired you to do so.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you find yourselves. Yes, so I started my professional life as a family physician, family doctor, in practice really, and then I slowly started getting involved in teaching others who were learning family medicine, and then eventually joined an academic department of family medicine. And when I joined the university and got involved in the more formal side of teaching, I realized that I really didn't know enough about various aspects of teaching, including assessment, actual evidence-based teaching strategies. You know, I think many of us fall into teaching without actually exploring the science behind the teaching. And so I realized I needed to equip myself, and I started off with a postgrad certificate in higher education, simply because there wasn't really anything else available to me at the time. And then slowly but surely, I kind of moved from clinical medicine into medical education. And I've absolutely loved the transition. I haven't left my clinical background behind. And in fact, I think it's helped me in my teaching, because my teaching is grounded in that clinical practice that I participated in for so many years. Yeah, and then once I was in that new field, I suppose I just wanted to learn more and explore more. And then, as James said, landed up getting my PhD in health professions education, which was based on how we can help clinical teachers become better, or clinicians who become clinical teachers become better teachers. So that was what my PhD was about. So I'm very passionate about now helping others to learn more about teaching, but not leave their clinical backgrounds behind. So yeah, that's a bit about me, Claudia.
Okay, thank you. And you've mentioned there, you know, your desire to move to a more formal, I suppose, education in this field. And that's one of my questions for you is, why do you think there has been the move to professionalize medical education and formalize it, make it a more formal education route? Where's that desire coming from, or that need coming from?
So I mean, it's really interesting, because I think possibly medical education is one of the youngest disciplines within medicine. And I think within the start of any new discipline, you kind of have the practitioners, and they practice and they learn on the job, but they slowly start realizing through the research they do or reflecting on their own practice that there actually is a science, there are theories behind this. And so it starts developing into a specific kind of training. If you think way back, everybody was a doctor of everything. And then it split into surgeons and physicians. And then it split into obstetricians and gynecologists. And then the medicine split into adults and pediatrics. And so as each one evolves, it develops its own science, its own disciplinary background. And I think that's where we are with medical education. And obviously, we learn a lot from higher education generally, adult education, which has been around for a long time, but bringing it into the context of clinical medicine or clinical healthcare professions is really what makes health professions education really special. We're not the same as university-based, lecture-based kind of higher education. We're not quite the same as other professions either, like law or engineering, in that so much of our training is really based around patient care. And so I think as we've understood that, and as we've learned that, we've developed a body of knowledge, a body of research. There are now journals dedicated to health professions education research. There are international conferences dedicated to health professions education. So it really is a discipline in which you can qualify yourself and become a specialist. And I think that's what's just the growth of this particular area.
I think you've answered very eloquently the next question which I had, which is, what is the difference between this and a general teach the teacher course? So I think that's answered that question, really, hasn't it? That, you know, this is very much.
Yeah. It's about, I think this course definitely ups the game from a teaching the teachers or training the trainers, which is kind of like, not disparagingly, but it's about the tips, the techniques, the helpful hints. Whereas this goes so much further. It is saying why we do the things we do, the theory behind the things we do, so that you can actually embrace this new discipline and start having conversations, understand the new vocabulary that is that one has to learn that I'm sure Eric might mention. You know, it's a whole new field that you're dropping into. So it's not just a small add-on, it's really embracing a new discipline and adding that discipline to the discipline that you already have or the profession that you already belong to.
And as you said, a very new, a very forward-looking profession as well in many respects. Julia, just on that note, I mean, why is scholarship so important for this this discipline, this group of professionals?
So I think scholarship is how we expand. It's how we do better. Scholarship is about learning and exploring how we can improve things. And so it's not just dropping into a groove and staying in that groove and doing things the same way forever and ever. It's constantly starts with reflection about your own teaching practice, and then linking that thinking and reflection. We're starting to read about it. What do others say about this? What have others learned? And so joining the conversation, that's what we often refer to it as. And then starting to contribute to that knowledge base yourself by engaging in research yourself, so that we actually start understanding the why and how of both teaching and learning, which are two sides of the same coin, really. So yes, scholarship is hugely important in developing the discipline and taking us forward, but also in being able to have conversations with each other. So, you know, we can walk into a room, kind of as we do on this program, but in a conference, for instance, or wherever else, with people from all over the world. And because we belong to the same discipline and engage with the same literature and conversations, we can start talking to each other about our similarities, but also sometimes our differences in our contexts of teaching. So it brings that, I suppose I sometimes think of it as a sense of family, that engaging in the scholarship and understanding the stories and the people involved brings you into the family of health professions education, medical education.
Very good. And why we're moving now into looking at, I suppose, the connection between the theory that you learn on this program and the practical application of it. And so I just wanted to ask you, why is it so important to link those theories to practice? And how do we do it? How do we encourage it on the program?
So I think this program is really good at doing that. So this is not about just learning theory, reading theory. This is absolutely about understanding that theory so that you can apply it in your context and so that you can become both a better teacher, but actually a scholarly teacher. So you understand why you do the things that you do. So it's no good just learning theory. That's behind the books. And yes, there's definitely a lot of reading involved in this program, and Eric might mention that as well. But it's not reading for reading's sake. It's reading for the purpose of application in your own context, in your own practice. So, you know, every single module, your assignment is based on an actual practice in your context, whether that be teaching, assessment, leadership, technology. It brings it always to what are you actually doing in your context. So I think it's a hugely valuable part of this program, or aspect of this program.
Julia, coming into the program, what kind of teaching experience do you require coming in, and what kind of teaching exposure do you need while you're in the program?
Yeah, I think it's really important because of exactly that. This is not just sitting behind the books or behind the computer screen, I suppose I should say nowadays. This is very much about your own teaching practice and what you are doing. So it's actually essential that you be teaching. It's also really important that you are teaching something where you have the ability to shift things a little bit. Or at least think very seriously about it. A lot of people might think if they teach on an ATLS course, for instance, that's a sound enough basis for this program. I would say that's a little bit difficult because an ATLS course is predetermined. There are outcomes that are determined by other people. There's a teaching philosophy determined by other people. There's teaching strategies which you are told, this is how you do ATLS. You will not deviate. This is how it's assessed because this is how whoever it is certifies it. And so it's quite difficult to think, if that's the only teaching you do, how you might change that and how you might shift that. So it's certainly better if you are engaging with students who are in a program, but that you're actually teaching and have some degree of freedom, autonomy, I'm not quite sure which word to use, but to actually think about that practice and how it might be better and what you could do differently.
Yes, I mean, you've moved into the next set of questions I have, which is around the reflection, the learning, the feedback. You know, we ask our students to self-reflect, to self-assess, but also we, of course, give them feedback. And I wonder if you could just talk a little bit about those two aspects, you know, the need to be able to examine yourself as a student, but also how we in IHED and faculty feed to the student, feedback to the student.
So it's a really interesting balance that I think I hope we achieve it most of the time, but that we certainly strive for. And that is to remember that this is a master's degree, and therefore there is an enormous element of being responsible for your own learning. And one way to be responsible for your own learning is to reflect on your practice and see what it is that needs to change. But on the other side, we're very much wanting to be there and are, I think we do get it right, to be there to guide that journey. And so it's the master's self-determination, self-regulated learning, but it's the support in that journey through conversations that we have every week during a module and the discussion boards that we have, but also the feedback on assignments that we give to students. So we give, I think, a lot of feedback, whether you've passed or whether your assignment's been good enough to pass or not yet good enough to pass, we give a lot of feedback. If it's good enough to pass, feedback about how that can be pulled through into your next assignment to make it even better. If it's not yet good enough to pass, how you can make it better and be able to pass on a resubmission. And so I think there is a lot of support of the journey, but one has to recognize that this is a master's degree, and therefore there is a lot that the student participant needs to decide for themselves and contribute themselves and engage with themselves. And then the reflection is based on your own practice again. So I think it's a great combination.
And speaking of combinations, Julia, what do you think the international and interprofessional mix of students brings to the program in terms of richness, richness of experience, I suppose?
Yeah, I think this is one of, to be honest, one of the big pluses is the breadth of diversity on this program. So it is a breadth of people from different countries. It's a breadth of healthcare professions. It's a breadth of seniority. It's a breadth of experience in teaching, let alone in clinical. It's wonderful diversity, and I think in every teaching room that we're in, there's always a breadth of experience and diversity of opinion as well, and that bringing that to conversations really adds an enormous richness. And I think that's the other reason that if you are teaching, you bring that experience into the room. And so it's not just us telling you how to teach, it's you bringing that, and let's talk about that. What do you bring? What have you learned from your practice? And really valuing that. So I think the diversity is absolutely a huge strength of this program. And we've got everybody on this program, from orthopedic surgeons to microbiologists. We've got foundation year 1 doctors to consultants with 30 years of experience in their clinical discipline. As you said, in terms of teaching staff, but also students, I think from Australia to Ireland and many countries in between, and students who are in their home countries, and as with Arig, who have moved countries. And so really all that breadth and everything of that comes into the pot of the conversation that we have just makes it really, really rich.
Julia, last question for you, and it's a timely one in that we've just spoken about our student body. When they've completed this master's and they've moved on, what are the career opportunities there for them?
So I think that probably varies from country to country, but more and more now, if you want to join academia, having a health professions education qualification is very, very valuable. So I'm not entirely familiar with the UK systems, but I think I'm understanding that having the PgCert or the PgDip is also really helpful in joining your postgraduate disciplinary training programs. So it's seen as you bringing added value to your specialist trainee posts, for instance. So that even that is of value. But I think within academia as well, there's more and more consideration given to your teaching portfolio and not only your research portfolio in terms of academic promotion. So I think it adds value whether you want to stay in your clinical discipline or whether, you know, as a clinician, or whether you want to join academia. This definitely adds value to your application for promotions and application for, you know, more senior posts. So definitely a big plus on a CV. Yeah.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for that conversation. I really hope that it was illuminating for those of you considering joining us. And Arig, I want to say thank you first of all for your patience and sitting patiently waiting to speak to us. But I wonder if you'd give us a little introduction to yourself and maybe tell us why you decided to take on this program with us.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Thank you, everyone. And good morning, good evening, good day for everyone. Where are you? Actually, I am an oncology registrar in Kerry, and that is just like southwest in Ireland. And I had my master's in multidisciplinary radiology. But I'm always interested in teaching, and because I find teaching is just sharing the knowledge, and at the end of the day, we are all clinicians, and our aim is just patient safety. So we can't, like, you know, so teaching is fundamental part of medicine. So because I moved from Sudan to Ireland, I'm always likewise, like, you know, interested in conveying and sharing the knowledge and the experiences from here to my people back home, and specifically with the undergrads. So I was doing like a voluntary teaching for the undergrads back home. But then I felt like, am I doing it right? Am I, like, you know, just stepping up for something that I'm not qualified, or I'm not having enough qualification to, you know, just to present? And I thought that it's a responsibility. So actually, I'm a great follower for IHEAD in the social media, and I was thinking of doing different, like, you know, as you said earlier, Claudia, that they do have like different programs. So I was planning to join one of the courses. It was cancer treatment, whatever, and we do have like in different platform with the RCSI and all that. And then I found that course. So I was thinking about it, and then I said, oh, will I go for it? Will I not? And then it was recommended by my brother. He's in Qatar, and he was attending the promotion webinar last year. So he sent me the recorded link. And then he said, like, I know that you are interested in teaching, and I think you need to step up and just, just to make it like structured and, just a qualification for teaching. So I listened it, and then I said, okay, that's a good, and I will just go for the PgCert, for the cert for 6 months. And when I start, after the first module, and my first tutor was Julia, and I was blessed, and it was my pleasure to be her student. So I decided, you know what, I'll finish the diploma. And now I'm about to finish it, and I decide to go for the master's. So I really recommend the course.
That's fantastic. And how, I guess as a student, and there are many hundreds and thousands of people considering getting into undergraduate and postgraduate education today, but how, in this program, Arik, how have you managed to balance your work life and your study and your family life? How have you found that? Has it been a challenge, and how have you managed it?
Well, to be honest with you, it was a big challenge. And actually, I'm working, I'm a mom, and I have 4 kids. I know that's plenty, but so it was really hard. But it's just, the key is just how to balance your time. And I'm always a great fan of like on distant learning or virtual learning, because I think that is just like, give you enough like, time, and you can manage your time accordingly. And with the time difference and all that, so I manage, just try to set a time every day for myself and for a study or wherever, and just to stick to that time. And then my family, they just do respect that, and actually they're quite interested, and sometimes they, always ask me, okay, what's new and this and that. So I think it's just organizing your time is the key. It's hard, it's challenging, but I think if anything you're doing it with passion, you will find time for it. And I find it very enjoyable. Like, teaching is one of the things that I feel is just being generous, and, to share the knowledge and to spread, all whatever your experience is, so that will help people.
And how has the program changed your teaching, Arik? What do you do differently 1 year on?
Well, first of all, because I usually teach my voluntary teaching, it's all online. So I was like, and I am very fan of that. So now I am equipped with the technology enhanced learning. And one of the barriers that I thought always that the resources, and because my country is a low social income country, so I find like it's not fair for them. But now we learn how to get like a free online resources, and how to know, like, to respect the right, all the copyrights preserved, and to take the permissions, and how far you can, use other resources. And I think from the course that helped me a lot. And then just to know, or just to consider educator or teacher not as just teaching. You're supposed to teach and to learn from what you did, and to receive the feedback to help your students. You are a leader, and that was something new for me, and I think that helped me a lot in my professional identity formation. So I think that was very helpful. And one good thing, now I'm applying. Yesterday I had an interview for a PPL tutor panel, and I hope that things will be fine. And I think that I got shortlisted because of the new qualification. So that make a huge difference in my life, in terms of teaching and in terms of my CV and all aspects.
Thank you. I'm going to just take the students now in a moment into a look at the individual modules, both in the cert and the diploma, Arik. And what I want to ask you before I do that is, when you look at each module and 6 weeks of content and reading weeks and assessments and so on, which I'm going to explain now, what advice would you give students in terms of, the main elements that they need to participate in on the program?
Okay, so I'll talk from my experience. I'm going, so because I wasn't on like institutional teaching, and it was just run by me and it's voluntary. So first of all, I found it very overwhelming and very challenging. But then after the first module, you just find how to, like, you know, you need to go through the resources and all the supplementary materials that you need to read it. And it's just like, I know that sometimes you have to read all of them and it's a bit challenging, but if you deal with it as like, you know, like a menu, and then you just go through it, and the canvas is very friendly user and it's very easy, and you know, you find yourself just go from page to another, and then you know, just go through the module. And one of the new things for me was the reflective approach, and you know, you learn by reflection and you create knowledge from your experience. And I think this is really like, you know, fundamental, and adds a lot to me, because it's always like, okay, that's experience, you know, but you learn from all experience, whether, you know, and it will have a great impact on you. And then the knowledge you created from that, you can use it in different ways. So like, as Julia said, in academia, and being a scholar or learning by scholars is just very important, because you reflect on what you did, and then you know how and why and when to change, and to look in other people like experience, and to do and that's very important, I think, and that will enhance your experience, and you know, like move you from novice to expertise level.
Thank you, Ari.
So my advice for everyone is just try to apply the knowledge on your practice base. You will enjoy it more, you will find it a lot easier, and then you can create your own, like, you know, you can reflect on yourself, and that you will find it very easy and very informative. And then you can, you know, all the experience that you get, it will enhance it and it will enrich it as well.
Thank you so much.
Claudia,
and thank you for, I suppose.
Sorry,
ahead, Julia,
I wondered if Eric might want to talk a little bit about the weekly workshops and the discussion board and the role that they maybe played in her learning.
I think that the weekly workshop is the fruit of the week, and I really enjoyed it because you will be in touch with your virtual community of practice, and it was such opportunity to learn from others in terms of your colleagues, your tutor, and then the very, like, you know, informative and feedback from each other. So we learn from each other, and the diversity. So sometimes, like, you know, I find myself lost. Okay, I didn't grasp the concept of, you know, the resources that I need to. That's just a lot. But when you are in the workshop, then, you know, you listen to others, and then, you know, different point of views along with the tutor help. So that was like, okay, then you just feel like, okay, I got it. So then you can just afterwards just go through it very quickly. And the classes or the workshops are very, like, you know, they will just very supportive. They help you to understand exactly what they are looking and how to apply it on your practice. And then the break rooms. And again, if you still have any troubles or anything, you can go through the discussion board, and the tutors are very supportive in terms of, like, you know, like elaborate more. And even after your assignment, if you have any, as Julie said earlier, if you have any problem, then like, I mean, if you pass with the feedback, and there is a lot of feedback, and the feedback is always, even during the sessions, and you have a chance of resubmissions, and that doesn't mean, like, you know, it would affect your grade at the end of the day, because the concept or is just to teach you how to be a good teacher. So I think that was really good.
Thank you, Arik. I'm going to explain a little bit about the format of each week, which hopefully I think Arik has really brought it to life for you. But what I'll do now is just talk you through how the program is structured, both from a semester perspective and also from a weekly perspective. So I mentioned there a couple of moments ago the modular nature of each semester. We have first semester postgraduate certificate, which looks at I guess giving students a solid foundation in medical education, starting with module 1, essentials of medical education, moving on to effective teaching in medical education, and then into the third module on assessment. And each of these modules is delivered in 6 weekly blocks. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to just take you into our platform and show you how a module actually rolls out on the platform. And how this works in practice is the first module will start for this group coming into us in September, at the end of September with induction, and then we begin to take you into the essentials of medical education, starting with week 1, learning theory into practice, and moving then into week 2, curriculum design, and so on. And how we run this is we flip the classroom for the students, and we ask the students to enter our online platform at the beginning of the academic week. As Arik has said, you need to put aside some time and immerse yourself in the materials. You learn online with our, I guess, our greatest or one of our greatest assets, our online learning platform, where we have developed the materials from the very beginning with a view to delivering this program online. And each module is structured the same way. Semester 1 is comprised of 3 modules, each 6-week blocks, with an assessment cycle at the end of each week, or each module, excuse me. Reading weeks as well to allow you to prepare for that assessment and to consolidate your learning. Likewise, semester 2, our postgraduate diploma, Arik has mentioned how valuable she's found the module on learning technologies, management and leadership, so ascending into that leadership and management role, and then the final module, module 3 in the postgraduate diploma. Each of them, again, is comprised of 6 weeks of learning, so there's very much a cadence and a tempo to the program. Each module is structured in the same way and is delivered to you via the online learning platform, and then via the weekly tutorials that we've mentioned, where our faculty contextualize and bring to life the materials that you've been studying during the course of the week. There's a community of practice where you work with your peers, and also discussion boards where you can interact with and are very much encouraged to interact with your faculty, with your tutor, and with your peers. And those discussion boards are so important in preparing you for the end point for each module, which is your assessment. And if, like Arik, you decide, I think I'll keep going on this journey, the final part of the journey is the master's cycle. And we're just about to embark on that cycle with one of the groups of students who are with us at the moment. In IHEED, we, I guess, pride ourselves on a very authentic assessment book. And so your Master's of Science cycle ends not with a thesis that sits on a shelf somewhere, but with a very practical and real-life professional project, a 4,000-word article, and a poster presentation. And we guide students through the steps that are required to get to that point, to be able to publish your article and present your presentation. Starting with the basics of choosing your research idea and working right through the writing of the paper, we provide students with a series of master classes that help them to conduct literature researches, help them to roll out a project plan, develop their design and methodology, obtain ethics approval, collect their data, analyze it, and ultimately write their paper. And at the end point, you present your professional project, as I said. This is the final part of the master's journey. And it and the previous 2 semesters provide us with almost like a 24-month cycle, ending eventually in your award of your Master of Science. How does it work in practice? If you join us in September, we'll give you a comprehensive induction, because of course for many people this is a shock to the system. It may be the first time you've been studying in a number of years, and so we try to orientate the students as best we can at the start. And then on a weekly basis, we have, as I said, the content, which I'll show you in a moment. We have discussion groups where you can interact with your peers, and Eric has very eloquently described how valuable that is. You dip in and out of your online content throughout the course of the week. We advise that you carve out a block of time at the beginning of the week to immerse yourself in it, get to grips with that week's materials, and then as the week progresses, dip in and out as you can. And our technology allows you to do that from your mobile, from your workplace, from wherever it is that you have some time to do it. And so this is where we attempt to provide that work-life balance that we spoke about earlier. And then that culminates at the end of the week in a live workshop, which is designed to facilitate you wherever you are in the globe. We run them at different times of the day, generally on a Thursday and a Friday, to that global audience that we spoke about. And that this is where, as I said, the tutors will bring to life the materials from the online platform. So this is a good point at which to just give you a little guided tour of the platform. While I'm teeing that up, James, I wonder if there been any questions that you'd like to address as I'm getting Canvas up and running.
No, Claudia, there's no pertinent questions just at the moment. There was just a couple of individualized questions, you know, about specifics of whether their English proficiency would be enough to get them onto the program. But just on the topic of English proficiency, our education advisors will reach out to all attendees and anyone who does apply for the program to discuss specifics of each individual's application. We have a number of ways of satisfying English language requirements, so we would need to speak to you directly to discuss your English proficiency. But if you've completed an undergraduate degree and the method of tuition was through English, then that should suffice to satisfy English language proficiency requirements. Alternatively, we have an in-house English proficiency test that is very straightforward to take. It can be done online as well. So if we feel we need additional evidence, we can do that in-house test with you.
Thanks, James. Okay, so this, I just wanted to give you a look at what the online platform looks like in the first instance, but also just a little bit of an orientation to it. So this is, if you join us, this is the first page that you'll be looking at when you load the platform in the first week. It gives a program overview. And what I wanted to draw your attention to is on the left-hand side here, the menu options from announcements, where we communicate with the students as an entire body, through to the assignments page, where all of the information around each module assignment is recorded, through to attendance. Attendance is not mandatory, although it's strongly encouraged, and we do record it and keep track of it here. Your attendance on your tutorials and your application to, for example, the discussion boards. Moving down to that, actually, I wanted to just show you here, this is where you interact with your peers and your faculty on each module through the use of discussion boards. We have a grade book where we publish grades as and when they become available. Each of the modules are listed here, and I'm going to show you one of those now. We have a variety of, I suppose, menu options here for you to allow you to interact with, participate, and engage with the platform. But most especially, I wanted to just look at the structure of the program, because this is where you see that translation of the slide I showed you a couple of minutes ago with each module, the first one being Essentials of Medical Education. So when you join us and you're jumping in the first week, you'll click on this and you'll see we have 6 blocks. Each block represents a week of learning. And here, most importantly, are the number of pages that each block contains. So 21 pages in week 1, 21 pages in week 2, and so on. And what I wanted to do was show you, and this brings to life some of the examples that both Julia and Arik have been giving. Week 1, learning theory into practice. Straight away, we're into adult learning theory. And so as a student, you read and hopefully absorb all of this information, get through that page. It tells you what learning outcomes you will expect to have achieved by the time you get to the end of this module. And if we click on next, we're straight into Malcolm Knowles and his theories. But what I wanted to show you was just, we speak about the interaction, the interactivity of the platform. This is within 2 pages of module 1. You're into an interactive quiz, I guess you'd call it. And I had a little play around with this last night. So I don't pretend to know all the answers, but here we have content is modified according to the learner's needs. Should this go to the left or to the right? So I drag it in here. I drag the next one, didactic teaching, in here, if I think that's the correct spot. Learners learn whatever the curriculum offers. I think we'll put that in here. Under pedagogy, teaching involves discussion and problem solving. I put that in here. Learners dependent on teachers for direction. Goal-oriented. And we'll see how many I got right. Oh, partially correct.
Yes.
But it actually gives me my answers here. So it's, when I can go, okay, I'll try again. I can retake it. Another quiz down here. I can learn, or not a quiz, but a tabular view of Knowles' 5 assumptions. I can flick through them. All of this material is designed and developed by subject matter experts. Julia's been involved in the development of some of these modules and some of our other faculty. So it's all been custom designed, not pulled from anywhere else. It's been designed specifically for this program. And here we go. In what ways could you address androgyny in your current practice as a medical educator? I'll click 2 and see what happens. Oh, I got them right. Okay, and then we have a reflective exercise. You can see there's a lot of material in there. You do need to put aside time to complete it, but it is a very interactive platform.
Yes, actually, and it's user friendly as well.
Yes, it is. It is very engaging, Arik. I find it. I sometimes get sucked in and start working through, and 5 minutes can go go by very quickly. On the extreme left-hand side, then, just to show you have a calendar. You can click on that, and that will give you all of the information about your tutorials and anything else that's coming up in that month. Mine is blank because, of course, I'm not a student. We have an inbox where we interact with the students and with program support. And so really everything you need to complete this program, other than your weekly tutorials, is encapsulated here, including supplementary and recommended reading. So it really is a one-stop shop for your materials and a replacement for the traditional textbook. Okay, so I'm conscious of time, and thank you for
Claudia,
for
maybe
being
you
with
just
us.
it's
Yes,
also
Julia.
available as an app on your phone.
Yes,
And so
yes.
you don't have to be kind of behind your, on your desktop or behind your laptop. The phone app is wonderful, and that really enables you to also engage with the Canvas content, on your commute or while you're having a cup of coffee or whatever, so that mobile app really helps you to make the most of any 5 minutes you might find in the day to go through one of those pages. And as you saw there, I think Claudia went through at least 3 pages there, I think.
Yes.
So when you see 21 pages, it's not like 21 pages of a textbook. It's 21 of those kinds of things. And so that interactivity really kind of masks the fact that there are 21 pages. And, you could do a page while you have a cup of coffee,
Yes, you can. I think you've raised a good point, Julia, and thank you for that, because how many of our students work is they will take a block of time on a Sunday or Monday or whatever works for their calendar and sit at a desktop and go through the material. But then subsequently during the week, as you say, if you've got 10 minutes in the break room, or if you're sitting waiting for kids to come out of school, or wherever it is that you have that time, you can load it on your phone. You can contribute to the discussion forum. You can read the next page. You can go back and go, I'm going to try that quiz again and see if I get it right this time. So yeah, a combination of the sort of the block of time and then the dipping in and out as you go through the week leading into the live workshop does work very well, and is designed to be as student friendly as we can make it.
And I can add one more thing,
yes,
if we have time, sorry. So like, it's just the 6 weeks is more than enough, and then you will have 2 weeks preparation for your module. And so that's really good. And as Julia said, like, you can just do it while you're waiting to collect the kids, attending whatever matches or whatever, and then you can just go through it, and that will be very easy. And the communication through the inbox is really easily, and you can contact any of the tutors or student supports or anyone, and they'll get back to you as soon as they can. So the communication is really good.
You've raised an important point, which is, of course, we have an online learning environment. We have our wonderful faculty delivering our tutorials, but we also have, I guess, one of our strengths is our program support, a team behind the scenes a lot of the time, offering support to our students on any aspect of the program, whether it's, how do I upload my assessment, or I've had COVID and I've lost a week of time, or I need to temporarily withdraw because of family issues, or where's my tutorial? Any question that you have as a student, we're always available to you to answer it. There's a team, Yelena, Maria, myself, and Sean, who are always there in the background supporting the students on this journey. And so we hope that means that you have strong support both from us as a team, but also from your community of practice. We do ask for personal commitment from you. As Eric has said, there is work to be done. There are 6 taught modules. And we're looking at generally between 20 and 25 participants per group. We like to keep the group small, and then they're further divided into your communities of practice, which generally are between, Julia, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think about 4 or 5 in the community of practice. Would that be right?
Yeah, it varies a little bit. I think the community round about. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So a little bit about what you need to do to succeed. And I think Eric has spoken to this, and Julia has as well. Regular attendance at our weekly workshops is an absolute critical success factor on this program. You need to be open to give and receive feedback. You need to be constructive in your approach to that feedback. You need to be willing to reflect and grow, to encourage yourself to grow, to encourage yourself to reflect, but also to listen to others' reflections on you. You need prior clinical or medical teaching experience. You do need access to teaching opportunities throughout, and James as well has spoken a little bit about the need for strong reading, writing and verbal English skills. And really, you know, we've said a couple of times as we've gone through the program, it is a master's program. It is a postgraduate program, whether you choose to go with the certificate, the diploma or the master's. And so you do need to be motivated, and that motivation needs to keep you buoyed up throughout the entire journey. James is going to talk to you now a little bit about the practicalities of the program and the application process. Before he does that, I'll just show you a couple of little sound bites from our students. And I think, again, Eric has brought those to life today, speaking about our faculty and the opportunities to speak and discuss your learning. The value of the weekly workshops and the value of the community of practice as well. So these are two of the elements of the program that we've spoken about a little bit this morning. So that's it from me this morning. I'd like to hand back over to James, because I think he's best placed to talk to you about the next step, which is, you know, hopefully you're going to join us, apply for the program, and what do you need to do that? How do you provide that to us? So James, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks a million, Claudia. So yeah, I'm one of the senior education advisors at IHEED. We have a large team of education advisors, and we can follow up with you all individually to discuss your specific entry requirements and your suitability for the program. But a brief overview of the entry requirements: you do need an honours bachelor degree to join this program. That's an absolute must. So a minimum of a 2-2 grade honours bachelor degree. So as part of the application, we do require your undergraduate degree certificate. You do also need evidence of English language proficiency, which I talked about a few moments ago, but we have a number of ways of satisfying the English language proficiency. So again, it is essential that one of our education advisors talks to you about this. But as I mentioned earlier, if you've done your undergraduate degree through the medium of English, then that is usually enough to satisfy the requirement. However, if you've previously done an IELTS or an OET or any other English language proficiency test, we will accept those as well. Even if they are expired by a short amount of time, we will consider them as well. So do include those with your applications. Failing all of those options, like I said earlier, we have an in-house English language assessment test, which is a really straightforward test to do. We can set it up for you very quickly. It can be done online. It's free of charge, and we can satisfy the requirement that way as well. Another essential entry criteria is that you have teaching experience, but also that you have access to teaching throughout the program. There was a question there from Benazir, which I'll address now. Benazir is asking if all assignments are in a written format, or if there are practical assignments as well. There are practical assignments, so there's a mix of practical assignments and reflective written assignments as well. The practical assessments require you to have access to teaching opportunities. So we will be teaching evidence-based educational theory throughout this program, and you'll be taking concepts from those theories and applying them to real teaching sessions. You'll be collecting feedback from those teaching sessions and crucially reflecting on the feedback from those teaching sessions. For that reason, it is essential that you are actively involved in teaching. Now, that doesn't have to be a formal teaching post. These can be informal teaching opportunities. It can be bedside teaching of medical students, for instance. But again, our education advisors can discuss discuss this with you individually, but you do need access to teaching throughout the program. And that's the three main entry criterias. Thanks, Claudia. Yeah, so a copy of your undergraduate degree is one of the 4 documents required with your application. We need a 500-word personal statement. That is a minimum of 500 words. That you can use the personal statement to discuss your motivations for applying for the program, your professional experience, your experience to date in medical education, and also discuss those teaching opportunities that you will have access to throughout the program, and your reasons for wanting to join this program. In addition, we require an employment or an academic reference letter. So that's a letter of recommendation from either your employer. We'll also accept one from a colleague, perhaps a senior colleague, or an academic. It can be a very simple letter recommending you for the program. And finally, we need a copy of your identification. So the 3 components of the ID that we need is it should have your photo, it should have your name, and it should have your date of birth so that we can identify you. Moving on to the most important aspect for most people in making their decision, the tuition fees. So there are 3 exits from the program. The master's is the full duration. That's the 2-year program. The postgraduate diploma is an earlier exit from the course. So it's a 1-year program, and the postgraduate certificate is an earlier exit still. So that's after 6 months. So all 3 of these exits start in the same place. So the postgraduate certificate is 1 semester, the postgraduate diploma is 2 semesters, and the master's is 3 semesters. You'll see that the headline price there is £12,000 for the masters. However, we do have an early registration discount running until the end of this month, which reduces the fees by £500. Similarly, for the postgraduate certificate, there is another £500 discount as well if you apply and pay your deposit before the 31st of August. We don't have any discounts if you're just looking to apply for the postgraduate certificate. Now, there was another question in the chat there, someone asking if can they sign up for the postgraduate certificate and later do the additional modules for the postgraduate diploma. The answer to that is absolutely yes. There's a lot of flexibility. So you can sign up for the postgraduate diploma while you're on the course if you're absolutely loving it and wish to continue. You can let your program support team know, and you can stay on the program and continue to either postgraduate diploma or to master's level. Alternatively, you can exit with a postgraduate certificate and then rejoin the program to do the additional modules and semesters required for the higher awards. The only limitation there is if your ultimate goal is to do a master's, you must complete the master's within 5 years from when you first commenced the program. So that would be at a postgraduate certificate level. Conversely, if you sign up for the master's program and life gets in the way, as it inevitably does, you are more than welcome to exit with one of those earlier awards. Again, just talk to your program support team and they can advise you further there. And if you do exit, you can rejoin again, and not a problem. Could you move on to the next slide there, Claudia?
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, so to recap, the postgraduate certificate is 6 months, 12 months for the postgraduate diploma, and 24 months in duration for the master's. So it is a part-time program designed specifically for busy clinicians juggling family, juggling career, juggling shift work, etc. So Very, very flexible. The course requires 10 to 15 hours per week of time commitment, but most of those hours you can access in your own time. Really the only live component is that 90-minute tutorial every week. We do have a number of tutorial times to try and suit your needs, usually for the likes of the UK and Europe. We have a 7 p.m. Thursday evening tutorial, which suits most people. For the GCC Middle East region, we would have tutorials on a Friday morning, for instance, or Friday afternoon. So we'll do our best to fit the tutorial that suits your need. It is important, very important, to attend those. It's 90 minutes each week that you have live. It's a really important, as Arig touched on, the really important aspect of the program. But they will be recorded as well. If you ever do miss any part of your tutorial, you can review the recordings of all tutorials, which again is a very useful feature. So you can recap a tutorial that you may have attended anyway. Our next intake is the 26th of September, and this is our most popular masters. It always reaches capacity in advance of commencement, so we advise getting your application in as soon as possible to avoid missing out on a place. It's a top 10 UK university. The University of Warwick is an extremely high ranked and widely recognized university across the globe, ranked 62nd in the world. So the weight of the certificate carries huge prestige, and it's a brilliant university and a brilliant award to come away with. In the UK, the postgraduate certificate would allow you to register as a fellow with the Higher Education Academy. There are different levels of fellowship based on your qualifications and experience, but yes, this award would absolutely be applicable for a fellowship with the Higher Education Academy. It's a hugely innovative program designed specifically to be online. We have an amazing online learning platform that is engaging, it's interactive, it's a joy to use. There's a huge variety of e-learning content to work through each week. We've got a brilliant support team and a phenomenal tutor network that spans the globe as well. And our tutors are some of the best in the business. Yeah, I mean the career enhancing outputs of this program are unparalleled. It's a great award for one's career trajectory, especially if they're seeking higher positions that will require teaching. It's becoming increasingly essential to have a formal qualification in medical or clinical education. Yeah, the program is engaging, it's challenging, and most of all enjoyable. A huge amount of support from our background staff who are utilising advanced analytics to monitor each and every student's progress. And that's the great thing about an online program, is we can see how everyone is doing on the course, and we can reach out to give bespoke support to any students that might be falling behind a little bit. We're there to help. We're there with the same goal as you, ultimately to be successful on the program. So there is a huge amount of support. We encourage each other, and most of all, we like to have fun on the program.
Okay, I think thank you everyone for your participation this morning. We've run a little bit over, but I hope it's been worth it. I hope we've given you a good introduction to our master's program, and that you've been spurred on to join us in September, and we look forward to meeting you then, should you decide to do so. And I think nothing remains other than to thank you and to tell each of you to have a good weekend, and best of luck with your future careers in medical education.
And thank you, Claudia. And I'll just say, if we've missed any questions or you haven't had an opportunity to ask your questions, we will follow up with you all individually. You'll be sent a recording of this webinar. You'll be sent all of the relevant course information, and our education advisors would be happy to address any further queries with you. So please do look out for communication from our education advisors.
And thank you to Julie and Arig as well for joining us. It was great to have you with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia. Thanks, Arig.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, James. Bye bye.
Bye.